Welcome to This Explainer. We're diving straight into a fascinating concept from Stephen Croke's The Living Signature of God. Specifically, we are going to unpack Chapter 6, which is all about the facelifted cell and escaping the comfort trap.
So, let me ask you something that might sound kind of crazy at first. Are you living in a prison that looks like a palace? I mean, we live in this era of just unprecedented prosperity, right? Yet there's this growing, lingering sense of unfulfillment for so many of us. We are constantly chasing these little dopamine kicks, packing our days with productivity, and then cramming our evenings with relaxation. And yet, that authentic, sparkling joy we had as kids, it often feels miles and miles away.
Okay, so this brings us to the crucial idea of the facelifted cell. It is just a brilliant metaphor for an environment that looks absolutely beautiful from the outside. It's completely socially acceptable. Honestly, sometimes it's even encouraged by everyone around us. But from the inside, it is secretly limiting our freedom and our vitality. The wild part is, the bars of this cell are entirely invisible because they're gilded with the sheen of what we all just call normal behavior. We literally don't even realize we're trapped.
Those invisible bars, they are made up of what the author calls 10 insidious addictions. Now, we're not talking about obvious vices here. We're talking about subtle, totally normalized habits that act like a silent assassin. Things like chronic complaining, excessive approval seeking, emotional eating, or just always needing to be busy. They slowly corrode our joy from the inside out, and they suck us into this isolating society until we barely realize how far we've drifted from true happiness.
Take the first one on that list, chronic complaining. It sounds kind of funny when you phrase it like a joke, but it highlights a really dark truth. We get so used to venting our frustrations over minor setbacks or the daily news that it basically becomes our default setting. We end up trapping ourselves in this perpetual state of victimhood. And honestly, it completely drains our own energy, not to mention the energy of everyone around us.
Now, one of the more surprising normalized behaviors we really need to talk about is polypharmacy. In our society today, it's incredibly normalized to be on 5 or more medications and just become a regular customer at the doctor's office every 3 months. It's a socially accepted behavior. But the hidden addiction here is that we use these pills as a quick fix to suppress symptoms, while completely ignoring the underlying emotional trauma, the stress, or the psychosocial root causes.
It's a dark sort of humor, but really ask yourself, is this the legacy we want to pass down to our kids? We weren't born to just take medication for the rest of our lives. The medicalization of our everyday stress often ends up isolating us even further from genuine human connection, pushing us deeper and deeper into that facelifted cell.
And here's another gilded bar we just readily accept: digital unreachability. We genuinely think we're highly connected because we're constantly staring at screens and scrolling through our feeds. We're always informed. But this socially accepted behavior actually masks profound social anxiety, a massive fear of missing out, and real physical isolation. We are choosing interactions via screens over genuine physical contact, which literally leaves our brains less resilient and our souls isolated.
Then, oh man, there is the absolute absurdity of the productivity addiction. We are so terrified of being still, of just doing nothing, that we feel totally worthless if we aren't producing something. It gets to the point where even our recovery and our relaxation activities become so demanding that we literally burn ourselves out just trying to plan our free time.
Let's actually ground these concepts in a story so you can really see it in action. Meet Mark. He's a successful business consultant. Now, on paper, his life looks absolutely perfect. He's got it all together. But secretly, his life is hollow. He's always on the move, always on. Deep down, there's something constantly gnawing at him.
Consider how a typical day for Mark actually plays out. He wakes up at 7 a.m., immediately rushing. By 6 p.m., he's at family dinner, but he's unconsciously checking his smartphone for news updates. So he's physically present, sure, but completely missing the genuine connection with his family. And then by 9 p.m., he actively fears the silence. He fills his evenings with more busy work or just endless scrolling, because to him, free time feels like wasted time. For Mark, the true enemy is silence. And why is that? Because in the silence, he has to face the incredibly uncomfortable truth that all this constant busyness is just a coping mechanism. It's a way to mask the deep emptiness and the total lack of true joy inside him. He is a prisoner in a cell of his own making, and that chain has simply become too heavy to ignore anymore.
But here is the good news, and this is where we turn things around. We aren't powerless in this. Breaking free requires a long march of what the author calls de-normalizing these habits. It means holding up a mirror, exposing those blind spots we all have, and radically accepting exactly where we are. It is confronting, for sure, and yeah, there will be relapses, but it is absolutely necessary if we want to reclaim our joy.
And denormalizing these behaviors isn't just some vague mental exercise. It actually requires real neural restructuring in your brain. Because our brains are plastic, we can literally rewire them, and there's a 3-step process for this. Step 1 is habit reversal training, which is just systematically replacing a habit like complaining with a positive one, like gratitude. Step 2 is using mindfulness to recognize your triggers so you can hit the pause button before you react. And step 3 is absolutely crucial: de-isolation. Getting real, healthy, social contact actually strengthens your prefrontal cortex and helps regulate your body's stress response.
So what's happening here is essentially a biological battle in our heads between two voices. The old voice is linked to your amygdala. That's your fear center. It is always screaming for immediate gratification and quick fixes. But every single time you resist one of those insidious addictions and choose the new voice, you literally forge new neural pathways. You strengthen your prefrontal cortex, which is what governs conscious choices and emotional regulation. Over time, you weaken the old pathways until they finally fall silent.
Now, this scientific restructuring perfectly aligns with what Stephen Krug calls the living signature of God. This is our divine inner impulse pushing us toward true freedom and joy. So that unrest you feel when you're constantly scrolling or overworking, that is not a punishment. That is a divine signal. It's an inner compass telling you that you are made for authentic joy and genuine connection, not for a facelifted cell.
This connects beautifully with the book of John, which famously tells us that the truth will set you free. Recognizing your insidious addictions, that is the hard truth. Acknowledging your own blind spots and those comfortable little habits that drain your soul is the very first key to unlocking your cell. The truth might be confronting, but it's literally the only thing that leads to genuine liberation.
And then we have this powerful truth from Galatians, which serves as a vital reminder about the danger of relapsing. Once you've tasted that real freedom and you've started to denormalize those toxic habits, you cannot slip back into the comfortable but limiting bondage of the facelifted cell. You have to stand fast in your new neural pathways and your renewed mind.
So, we're going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Take a really close look at your own life. Which of those 10 insidious addictions is secretly holding you back right now? Challenge yourself today to identify just one invisible bar, hold up that mirror, and take that first conscious step toward genuine, unfiltered freedom. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I truly hope it sparks a powerful change in how you view your everyday habits.